You spoke about the crypto entrepreneurs. I would say, Russell Kaima, it is probably the best option for your clients. The new implemented tax is 9%, but this 9% extends at a certain profit. So there is a threshold mark of 375,000 dirhams, which is approximately 110,000 US dollars. We do encourage everybody who comes to Dubai to actually go and visit the Museum of the Future. They have all this vision. They're already speaking about the 2050 vision, including real estate. Information goes on the blockchain. Most likely, even the purchases in the near future will be officially be bought crypto.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to OneLink podcast. And today with Madalina, the co-owner of OneLink Group of Companies, we are here to host an Eduard Nedelcu, the partner of Safar Partners, an Emirati law firm. He's a member of New York State Bar Association and a head of Arbitration Department at Safar. And of course, he's an off-counsel in OneLink and collaborate with us and everything regarding to the legal matters in OneLink Group of Companies. So guys, welcome. And we created this specific podcast to answer to all of your questions regarding to legal ties to UAE, Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah. So after watching this video, you will know exactly everything you should know from the legal perspective, how to open the company, how to move here, which rules are in UAE, and how to obtain residency here, tax residency. So guys, watch this podcast from the beginning till the end to get all of your answers. Welcome. And thank you so much, Eduard, for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Nick. It's a pleasure to be this podcast with you guys.
And I want to start with the most important question. So as a crypto entrepreneur, I want to move to Dubai, to UAE. And the easiest way to actually obtain visa here is to create a company, right? So that's why I'm curious to ask you, first of all, which type of documents I need to gather to actually successfully launch the company here, which Emirati to select. So for example, there is Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, and which zone we need to select for a person for him to successfully open the company as fast as possible. Can you tell us more?
Sure. So that's actually a very good question. I'm going to take you back in the history. And then the reason why I want to go back 50 years is to speak about the formation of UAE, or the United Arab Emirates, which it is comprised of 7 emirates. Now, all the emirates, they have different jurisdictions, they have mainland zones, they have free zones. So pretty much they're all different from one to another. Now, you spoke about the crypto entrepreneurs, which I would say, Ras Al Khaimah, it is probably the best option for your clients. And then the reason why Ragdao, which is a recently developed free zone, focuses mainly on anything that the crypto entrepreneurs need. That is, as far as we know, the only free zone in the world where that actually has activities that others don't. So as far as the ease of doing business, of course, Ras Al Khaimah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Nonetheless, it depends of how the documentation is being provided. You mentioned that you want to do business fast. You want to mention that you want to set up a company fast, but I guess everybody wants to do this.
Because crypto world is super fast,
Because
right?
crypto world is super fast, yes. Now, in order for you to do business fast, you have to find a reliable corporate service provider.
OneLink Solutions.
OneLink Solutions that will help you guide through your whole process. The onboarding process, it is extremely important. You need to provide passport copies. You need to provide a business plan. You need to eventually show an utility bill, banking records. Some free zones, they do need, and I'm sure this will probably also expand when you want to do Emirates ID and your visa. You need to have a digital picture. Those are not requirements that they're out of ordinary. Those are just normal requirements, and most people should have them ready. The moment you basically, you're being onboarded, depends if there's no additional KYC questions involved. I do believe that a company should be ready in 5 business days.
So actually, you need to know a lot of small stuff to do not make any mistakes when you register the company. Because when we was talking together, and you tell me that it's very important to show to UAE government that your company is real and it's running properly. That's why if you will make mistakes and the registration, you will select not the right zone. Or tell me about that a little bit more.
I think it all depends of the corporate service provider that you chose, right? Because it is not you as a client that you'll be doing the registration. It will be your legal representative in here that'll be doing this registration. So it is important before you do any type of business in Dubai, in the UAE, do your due diligence on the company that will be representing you here. Make sure that yourself as a client, you have all the documents required. Don't say, oh, I don't have this, or I'm going to send it to you later. And then you're going to go back to the corporate service provider or to the law firm and say, why didn't you do it on time? Well, why didn't I do it on time? It's because you did not provide me the documents that I had required. Source of funds is also important. A lot of banks, they will be asking for the source of funds. Have ready bank statements between 3 months to 6 months. And once you have the company set up, it comes the fun part. It comes the visit to the UAE. That is in case if you want to become a UAE resident. And how does it go? It's a very simple process. You'll be going for a medical. Usually this medical exam consists in 2 steps. They'll take a blood sample and they dig into the X-ray. There's nothing, outside of ordinary. It's done very fast within a few minutes. Next day, probably they will call you for stamping or fingerprints, and you're becoming a resident. That's simple. So ease of doing business in the UAE, it is a very fast track system. As you said yourself, it's fast, just like the crypto industry.
Yes. So that's why I want to tell our audience that this is the easiest path to actually live here if you start a company here, because you will get like a corporate bank account. You can get your residency, your visa, everything will be structured properly only if you work with the right people. Because in UAE, it's very important to check with whom you're working. That's why we invited you as a lawyer to actually explain our audience that it's very important to know what you sign, know what you create, like a company,
It is. It is very important. It's very important who you choose. Even us as law firm, we see horror stories about corporate service providers or all types of companies. They take the client's money and then they disappear. We had a client, let's say they send the money on March of 2024. Nothing was done until December 2024. So go figure. Due diligence, extremely important. Now, you mentioned bank accounts. Of course, having a UAE residency and Emirates ID will enable you to open up your personal bank account as well, besides the corporate bank account. If you want to move to the UAE, you will have to rent an apartment, a villa, whatever the crypto entrepreneurs they into these days, or share accommodation. Not really sure about that, but
or a mansion.
yes, you can send your kids to school. You can do pretty much everything that you can in the UAE as a lawful resident.
Okay, so UAE government introduced in 2023 the corporate tax for new registered companies, which now I heard that it's mandatory to be registered for corporate tax for the 9%. Can you tell us more about this? Who needs to register for this? Is it mandatory? Is it not? What's the target? What's the threshold?
Super. Yes. In June 2023, 9% corporate tax was implemented through most of the companies in the UAE. Now, there's a little bit of misconception that the mainland companies are the only ones that they're going to have to pay the corporate tax or register for the corporate tax. It's not true. Also, the free zone companies, they have to register for the company tax. And this is done with the Federal Tax Authority. The new implemented tax is 9%, but this 9% extends at a certain profit. So there is a threshold mark of 375,000 dirhams, which is approximately 110,000 US dollars. So once you have profit over this, you'll be taxed strictly on your profit, not on your revenue.
So it's regarding to the profit.
It is regarding the profit, yes. And that applies, as I said, it applies to most of the companies. Even though you're not having this profit, you're still going to have to register with the Federal Tax Authority. Very, very important.
So after you register the company, how much time you have to register for corporate tax?
You're still going to have to present the documents at the end of the year. So my advice to the clients is just do it immediately.
Immediately. Yeah, so 40, 60-day max.
I would say, exactly. You don't want to wait. You don't want to just rush everything at the end of the year. Get things done properly right from the beginning. Stay in line, with the UAE legislation. And that extends to pretty much everything. You want to do business in the UAE, do it the proper way. Have the proper contracts in place. Make sure that you do business within the trade license activities. So if your trade license says one thing, if it says A, don't do X, Y, Z. Otherwise, probably somebody's going to knock on your door and they're going to ask you why you're doing this. Keep proper documentation. In case if you're employing people, make sure you have the employment contracts in place. Those contracts depends where you are. If you're in a mainland company, you have to register with the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization. If you're in a free zone, some of the free zones, they have their own templates and they have to be registered with the authorities.
You said a really great, I think, thought that whenever you're opening a company, you should select activities that you will do at least for the next couple of years without even changing anything, because you can add, on top.
Yes, you can always amend the license.
But it's very important to, first of all, add and get the permission, and only after that receive money for this type of activities. Because law in UAE it's completely different, like in the whole world. So please make sure that when you create, because crypto world is changing rapidly, and when you create, your activities might change. But that's why think twice before you give activities, and please do not ever receive any money for different activities that is inside of your.
It has to be within the scope of work.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk more a little bit about the point when I opened the company. Now I have my residency, my company just started. And then, the blood of any company is money. And when the money start pouring into your bank account, like what I need to control to do not have any legal problems, like the UAE government, of course, and what should I do to avoid any fines, anything, Can you tell us a little bit more about this starting point of any company in UAE?
That's actually a very great question. You have to do the activities, we said in a previous question, as per your trade license. Stay in line with everything. You're going to definitely have a bank account. So the banks are going to start asking questions. And those questions, they based on the incoming and on the outgoing wire. We always tell the client, have the proper contracts in place. If you have big amounts of money that are coming to your bank account, make sure your bank knows in advance. Provide them the contract. I know probably a lot of transactions are being done in crypto, so what's in crypto stays on the blockchain. But when you're using the traditional banking system, make sure your bankers know. Usually when you open up a bank account in the UAE, you have a dedicated RM, relationship manager. This relationship manager follows on their clients. And it's very important for you to have a very good relationship with your relationship manager where they understand the business. They know what to expect. They know the monthly amount, the yearly amounts that they're coming in, that they're going out. So provide the contracts. Very, very important. Show them the invoices. The banks, they kind of, and us lawyers, we work in the same way. Black and white, paper talks. And us lawyers, we do have a very funny joke. Believe it or not, even us lawyers could be funny. We say, tell me that you love me, but tell me in writing. So everything has to be put on a paper. Fines, yes. So the fines could be given, especially when you're not renewing the trade license. So don't wait until the very last day to reach out to your corporate service provider, to reach out to your agent and say, oh, by the way, I forgot to renew my trade license. You will definitely be fined. And you know what? It's not always the corporate service provider's fault. You also have to be aware when your license expires. Usually, the trade license in the UAE, they're being issued either for 12 months or for 24 months. So be careful when you're selecting and just look at those things. Does my license expire in 12 months or does my license expire every 2 years? That you'll be avoiding the fines. Yeah.
We usually take care of the clients, like we're sending them many notifications before the license expires, like 2 months before, 1 month before, 15 days before. So we make sure they will renew or cancel if they don't need the company anymore.
Or cancel. Well, yeah, that's probably a topic which I'm sure we will be discussing a different podcast, how to cancel the trade license. It's not exactly a walk in the park, as they're saying, but having the proper firm that will just help you do this, it's extremely important.
So basically, when you start a company, first of all, you need to understand that you need to be 100% clear and to give clarity to the government. What you do, you need to have all the documents, all the contracts with your suppliers, with your partners, freelancers, right?
Yes.
To actually prove that there is nothing like money laundering or whatever inside of this company, to show that this is a legit company. And only in this way, when you do everything properly, you will have a long-term life in the UAE, because this is a country of opportunities, as we know. And you need to know exactly how to do everything. That's why we invited you, and we have lawyer in our company, because we want to provide you with an action plan that is proven. That's why you help us with everything. And if we don't know something, we just go to a lawyer, we ask, because, yeah, guys, you need to read everything, or just come to OneLink and we'll help you with everything because we have the right people.
Yeah, we always tell clients, basically ask questions. There's no such a thing as a stupid question, pardon my French. But you have to just make sure that you align with all the requirements. Depends on the type of activity that you have. You may need to have a KYC or a AML questionnaire, when you're onboarding clients, especially when you're being regulated by the authorities. Let's see if you're falling under the scrutiny of the UAE Central Bank or if you're falling under ESCA, you definitely need to just do your KYC on your clients. Source of funds, it's important. Trust me, the banks will ask those questions. And if the banks, they're not satisfied with the questions, with the answers that you have provided, probably they will just shut down your bank account. So start with the right foot, have the proper paperwork, cooperate with, with the firm representing you. And I think this is a success right there.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of people all over the world, especially in Twitter, they know that Dubai is a crypto heaven. It seems like it's a real heaven, but some people worry about that 9% corporate tax can like hurt the UAE reputation as a business friendly place. Is that actually true, or like what do you think about that? Because now everybody's telling like, oh, it's a tax-free heaven, but oh my God, it's 9%. It's not the tax-free heaven anymore.
Yeah, well, it is true that for a very long time, UAE was advertising as a no corporate tax zone. But with this 9% corporate tax being implemented, UAE is still some of the forefront countries, within the world. If you're starting comparing with 20% tax in other countries, or 30% taxes, or even 40% taxes. So no, I really don't think it will hurt UAE's image on a country. I think it's going to position UAE's image and say, we are very serious. We're playing out there with the big boys. We want to be recognized as one of the best jurisdictions in the world to do business with. We want to be in line with the OECD best practices. Keep in mind, there's no other taxes in here. So there's no personal gain tax. There's no any type of income tax. So that it's a very good draw for skilled workers. That what makes a UAE the place that it is today. Us as residents, we see, including when our tax money they going to. You look at the infrastructure, you look at the security, you look at the medical system. I don't think, in all honesty, there is a safer place than this country in the whole world.
So basically, UAE is the best place to start a startup, because if you want to create a company and it's like up to this amount that you said, it's $110,000 for the beginning without any taxes, without 9%.
Yes.
It's still a huge amount of money for people. If you want to test some idea, UAE is the best place to do it, and you don't have any taxes on personal side.
100%. I mean, when the 9% tax was introduced in June 2023, a lot of people were scared, and they probably saw it with a little bit of caution. But we've seen it as a law firm. A lot of entrepreneurs that we dealt with, we approached right from the beginning, because there were not a lot of, even the tax advisors, they were not prepared for this. So we say, what do you think? How do you think it's going to happen? What do you think the threshold is going to be? And we were asking in return the entrepreneurs, do you think this 100,000 US dollars, it's a good thing or it's a bad thing? Most of them, like yourselves, you're a startup. Everybody welcomes this 9% corporate tax because it kind of shows that, you align with the best tax practices. And it's a reasonable amount for taxation.
Yeah, I mean, the 9% is still not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Not a lot at all. And first of all, the opportunities that are in UAE is just insane. And the speed of illegal operations is insane, because I don't think that in Europe you can open a company in like 5 days or obtain residency. Sometimes it's super hard to do it. Only in Dubai, it's like speed is.
I don't think there's anywhere in the world where you can actually open up a company within a few days, or you can even get your visa stamped or an Emirates ID. Nowhere.
With just a passport.
Yes. Absolutely.
And my question is it true that they introduced this 9% to not be blacklisted? Because other country would say, okay, but it's not fair to have zero tax.
No, I really don't think so. Years back, keep in mind, the UAE doesn't entirely want to depend just of oil and gas. Eventually, you'll be running dry. So you're going to have to look at different sources of income. I don't think UAE was pressed by any international organization. It's true, for a little while they were under the gray list, but that in the past? That's a very good question because it's going to probably take me to a next topic, which is a 50% corporate tax. Now, we don't want to scare the audience of 9% and 50% corporate tax, but this 15% corporate tax is being implemented as of January 1st, 2025, and it only applies to the MNCs, as they call the multinational companies, which they have a worldwide revenue higher than 750 million euros per year. So you're looking at a very small percentages of the companies that they'll be probably qualifying for this.
Because this is the headline, the perfect headline. UAE introduced 9% and 15% corporate tax. But let's define what they mean by this, because 15% is not for ordinary people. It's for a huge international companies that have a huge amount of money pouring in them, their actually companies.
Correct. So I would say it doesn't apply to most of the businesses in here. And let me just go back. Yes, this actually 15% tax, it comes of a collaboration between the UAE and the OECD. OECD, what they're trying to do, they're just trying to implement a 15% worldwide global tax, where the majority of the companies, the multinational companies, that they have this massive revenue, they're going to have to align their taxation, and they're going to have to really pay a minimum tax. Doesn't really matter where they are in the world.
So first of all, after we register the trade license, we inform them, you have to register for corporate tax, you have to do the accounting. We have these packages, but it's up to you if you want to take it or not. It's not mandatory. We just informed you so you are aware. You explained already to us about the corporate tax. Is it mandatory? I understand. But what about the accounting?
The accounting is important. The accounting is very important because how are we going to be able to file for tax if you don't have an accounting system? And this has actually been some of the biggest challenges for the companies when this 9% corporate tax was involved, because a lot of them, they had to completely shift their strategies. They have to have either new accounting systems, they have to upgrade their accounting systems, or they have to go to the people that they are professionals, such as accounting firms or tax lawyers.
Okay, let's say the client is from UK. He opens a company in Dubai. Is it mandatory the accountant to be from UAE? Or it can be from anywhere in the world?
It has to be a UAE registered accountant.
Okay, very important.
He needs to understand how to put everything properly for the UAE government specifically. Because in each country, accounting is different regarding to the documents. So can you tell us about, it's a really great question regarding to accounting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How to avoid fines or problems with that?
Sure. The moment you're registering your company, find an accountant or find a corporate service provider that offers you those services. Immediately engage them. Be ready. Do not wait until the very last day, because as I mentioned before, you will get fined. Make sure you keep everything black and white. They will vary. They will be from $500, and they could just probably take you all the way up to $10,000, $20,000. Depends. And fine means even if you're supposed to file for your taxes on December 31st and January 1st came in, for one day, you probably get fined a lot. So don't do that.
So you're saying that you need to think ahead?
Yes.
And no matter what happened, because I know that a lot of clients are asking, for example, Madalina, oh, what about the accountant? Should I do it? And we have the solution here, right?
Yes, of course, we offer accounting services as well. My other question would be, let's say, what happens if the client won't register for corporate tax?
Doesn't want?
Doesn't want, yeah. He won't register.
They're going to get fined. There's no way around it. They will get fined. You have to stay in line with the UAE laws and legislation.
What is the fine?
It varies, depends with if you didn't register, how long did it take you to refile again. Don't do this.
It's actually easier to pay to accounting and make sure everything. That's why, guys, the most important thing you need to understand, think ahead. First of all, when you want to move to UAE, think ahead regarding to legal ties that you will have here. Open a company. When you came here, you have the company. Think for the next move always. Be in advance at least for 1 month. Because sometimes you understand, oh, I will do it at the end of the month. But then there will be 2 documents that is a little bit harder to find, or just it will be like a holiday or whatever, and you will have some problems. And you don't need to have any problems in UAE because it's the tax heaven, first of all, but you need to know the rules of the game. That's the point.
You do, and then you're going to have to do this strategic planning. You're going to have to incorporate in your business plan, allocate money for taxes, even if you don't pay, but you're still going to have that on your budget. So it's very, very important you disclose this information. You're being honest with yourself, and you're being honest with your lawyers. You're being honest with your accountants. You're being honest with the corporate service provider. Because if you do not comply, and we see it, clients will always going to blame you. Oh, but he didn't tell me this, he didn't tell me that. If you told them, and if they didn't do it, it's not your fault. It's the client's fault.
So you said a really great point that you need to be honest.
You have to be. You have to be transparent.
Yeah, transparent.
Yes.
Also regarding to transparency, we have clients in the initial call, we make sure, like we explain to them, the trade license will be available for 1 year. When the times come to renew, some of them say, oh my God, I need to renew my license. I thought I have my business forever. Can you explain to us how the business works here, why the trade license has to be renewed every single year? We usually sell the basic package, which is for 1 year only. We don't sell 2 years, 3 years, especially for crypto people, things can change very fast. So can you give us more details related to why Dubai chose this strategy to renew the license every single year?
That's a good question, but I think it doesn't necessarily apply to Dubai. It applies to worldwide. It's a worldwide thing. It doesn't really matter where you're going to have to renew, just like you're renewing your driver's license. Of course, your driver's license or your passport, they do not renew it every year, but they renew it 2 different times. But when it comes down to the trade licenses, the common practice, it's that you renew it every couple of years. I would say this is just a common practice.
For the Emirates ID, for the residency, let's say you get employment residency here. How often do you have to visit UAE?
Well, if you're an employee, most likely you'll be based here. But let's say you have decided to work part-time and work remotely with your employer, and you decided to go back to your home country. Now, the rule is that you're going to have to be present in the UAE every 6 months. It doesn't apply only just to the employees, but it also applies to the investors. Let's say the investors that they have a 2 years visa. We do recommend the clients to come every 6 months. We make this joke, just land, clear the customs, go back out. But nobody wants to actually do this, right? I mean, if you're coming to Dubai, you want to spend time. So come to the UAE, make sure you get that entry stamp. Well, these days it's not an entry stamps anymore. Just make sure you go through the immigration, do your scan, enjoy the country, and then just go back.
What happens if you don't manage to come to Dubai in 6 months?
It depends. You can reapply for an entry permit, or just when you reach the immigration, they will ask you the questions why you're outside of the country. And in here, many times, the immigration officers at the point of entry, they have the same authority as the police officers or the immigration authorities, whether they can immediately help you to renew your visa.
Really?
Right on the spot. Or they will just deny the entry, say, go back, I'm going to let you go this time, and I'm going to give you this much time to get your status in order.
Because we had a client that was stuck in the airport for a few hours. He didn't inform us before he came, and they didn't allow him to enter the country.
That's exactly.
And we had to apply for the re-entry permit super fast, and we got it luckily in a few hours.
This is a really great point. So guys, whenever you're coming to Dubai, just write us. We'll tell you everything is good with your documents, so you will not have situations like this, because some people are just making decisions by their own. But guys, it's very important to have a proven service provider who can guide you with every single detail. This is very important, because sometimes like this situation happens, and it happens because clients just want to be free in their decisions. But we are here to help you and to guide you. And first of all, like, yeah, you need to be here 6 months to have all the benefits as a UAE.
As a EU national, I mean, and you pretty much have almost the same rights except the right to vote. Because when you're we all follow, His Highness Sheikh Maktoum, and many times, or the president of the country, let's see, the New Year's, or Ramadan, or Eid holidays, Christmas, anything else. The way they extended their wishes, they're not only extending to the UAE nationals, they're always extending their best wishes to the UAE nationals and the residents alike, which makes a very big thing. I mean, not sure if a lot of people, they had the chance to visit UAE, but the rulers in here, they don't go with bodyguards. You might be able to just bump into, His Highness in a Dubai mall, and he will be probably just sitting next to you having coffee. So this is how UAE works.
Yes. And that's the good point for me. I want to ask you, a lot of crypto entrepreneurs from all around the planet, they move to Dubai, not to Singapore, not to other jurisdictions. They move to Dubai specifically because this is a crypto heaven, and the actual communication with people in crypto is insane. So here, the people that surround you is always better than you, and you strive for more. It keeps you humble. But when you come here, you need to know about the rules, because here the rules are completely different
They are.
than from the whole world. They have small details that you need to know exactly before you move even here. So, for example, I want to move here. Where should I read or know about the rules for an ordinary person who wants to live here to not have any problems? For example, if you can't drive your car without a driver license based here, right? You need to like renew it if you want to live here. So this type of small things give us the some small tips to know rules better, because you are the lawyer. You know where to read them. We don't.
Yeah, well, I could probably say ask a lawyer. That's the easiest way, or just go on the forums. Rules in here, they're a little bit different. The way you're acting on the street than you're acting in the street in the US or Canada or maybe UK. You know, you cannot drink on the street. But even in Canada, at the end of the day, if you get pulled over, by by a police officer, and then you have a bottle of alcohol inside of the car that it's open, even if you haven't drank, probably gonna get a fine. But in here, guys, don't drink on public, 100%. Once you become a UAE resident, exchange your driver's license. And these days, they implement a lot of, just like crypto, fast rules, wherein you can just exchange your driver's license for coming from one of the countries that's on the list. It's probably 27 or more countries that you can effectively can just walk into RTA. RTA, that's the Road Transport Authority, at least in Dubai. And
So you need to change if you're living here.
you need to change it, yes.
After get the residence.
Because guys, if you will not change the driver license and you will ride without a driver license, you can be in jail for 3 months, right?
You will definitely be pulled over and you will not live a pleasant experience. No. They could probably land you in jail to one certain point.
In our countries, it's totally fine when somebody's like, I will not renew it, I will just give a fine or whatever. Here, you can get a fine, but still you need to know the rules, because some of the rules are different. As you said.
The rules are different. The rules are different. Keep in mind, UAE, it's a very open country. It does remain a Muslim country, which the laws, they're based on Sharia law, which they have to be respected. There are certain rules where you have to wear a certain attire.
Tell me more about this type of small rules or laws that you need to actually be aware of, because it's a Muslim country. You just need to read about, you can simply even ask ChatGPT to know about the basic rules, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
You can't walk and show like that you really love a person on the street. You can't kiss, do this type of stuff on the street in the mall.
Display of public affection. It is one of one of the things that a lot of residents, they might just find it strange. So don't kiss your partner in the public. I mean, a kiss on a chick is okay, right? Yeah, don't do the French kissing in public in the UAE. No, that probably will land you somewhere that you don't want to be.
Yeah, I think the bad part can happen. Somebody will come to you and they will tell you about this, but nothing will happen. Just do not do like a French kiss. It's very important.
Very important. And I saw the mother, she wants to ask me a question. Go ahead, and then I'll tell you what I had in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think like they are too strict regarding this, honestly, because like I was holding my hands with my boyfriend,
Holding hands, they're totally fine.
kissing in public. We have no issue.
Oh yeah, you got lucky, but you got my information as a lawyer. I'm sure you guys can call me if there's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. You can do it, but don't do it in Dubai Mall in front of a lot of people, this type of things.
I'm so sorry, but you know where you can actually get arrested? You can get arrested by saying the F word, and you can get arrested by giving somebody the finger. In the UAE, it will land you in jail. Leaving a very bad Google review, it will enable the other party to open up a criminal case against you without the proper documentation. You're going to say, oh, I wanted this restaurant, they whatever. Don't do those things.
I have my friend who was fined for $5,000 because he named a scammer.
Yeah, don't do this. Leave it to the lawyers.
Yeah, so please respect like the public communications in social media, in reviews, because this is super important, this country, because they can just screenshot it and this would be
They will land you in jail. They will definitely, a criminal case can be filed against you. You'll have a travel ban. Eventually, touch wood, you might end up spending some time in jail, which nobody really wants to do.
what else? What some rules that you need to know?
Let's talk about clothes and about outfits.
Clothes and outfits. Okay. Sounds good.
Many people think that you are not allowed to wear short dresses or like swimsuit. I know this is not true, but let's make it clear where you have to dress properly.
I think you really just gave yourself this answer, which was first a very good question. Swimsuits and short dresses. You're not going to be wearing a swimsuit in the mall. Definitely not. I mean, at the beach, sure. Even the short dresses, just, make sure they're, decent, not something that it's considered indecent exposure, right? So it's common sense.
Definitely, yeah. And from my understanding, only in authorities center, like if you go to police, like in any other country, this is nothing different.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So if you walk in a public institution, if you go into the notary public, or if you go into the court, or if you work in the police, and you just walking not the way you're supposed to, probably they're going to say, you know what? Why don't you just go back, change, come back, and then we'll talk.
Yeah, for example, when we go to biometrics, I have to make sure I tell the client, you have to wear long pants. If you're a man, it's okay, or t-shirt. If you're a woman, you have to cover your
Your
shoulders.
shoulders, yes, absolutely.
This, small things. Thank you for.
But Nick, you're totally right. I didn't think of this, but sure, ChatGPT, it's everybody's friend these days. So if you're not sure about something, not legal, because legal, even us as lawyers, we do correct ChatGPT.
Guys, never ever think that ChatGPT will give you proper information regarding to legal ties in UAE, because it can give you information, but this information cannot be 100% true, because lawyers, they search for the information in the
We have a database of jurisprudence, right?
you just know where to find proven information from the government. And ChatGPT is using what? It's using web pages like in Google to find information that even people created. So it's very important that you know exactly one lawyer where you can ask some question, or you have like the service provider.
And I have to tell you one thing, not all the law firms, in theory, they display the right information. Keep in mind, it's also two lawyers, three opinions. But many times it could be that the information that we think it's accurate.
What is the source for this type of rules, where an ordinary person can find all the rules, where you search them?
I'm going to say we search it online, but we search it online to the public resources. All the laws, usually they're being published. For instance, the DAFC, which DAFC, it's a completely different free zone, that they have their own independence, they have their own courts. They listing all the laws. So DAFC, they have the labor laws, they have the real estate laws, they have corporate laws. So you go to the AFC for information pertaining to the AFC, or then you go to the UAE government for the information pertaining to all the federal laws. We have our codes that we buy them every year because the laws in the UAE, they're being updated every year. There's a lot of public information out there, but you go straight to the source. You go and read the law and you interpret the law.
And I want to ask you a question regarding to crypto people, because all crypto entrepreneurs from all around the planet move to Dubai, not other countries or cities. Why do you think Dubai is the best place for a crypto entrepreneur?
Because of the vision that they're having. Keep in mind, they started from the bottom, and, His Highness, they had an excellent vision. At one point in time, I remember before even moving to Dubai, I was just seeing an interview that he had with Piers Morgan, and he was explaining about his vision. When he was young, when he was going with his dad to the UK and seeing all those beautiful roads, it's just like, one day, I want my country to be like that, if not even better. Then they started to attract very high talented people. And those talented people help UAE, who help Dubai to have this awesome vision of how the future is going to be. They have the Museum of the Future, which is not that far from here. And we do encourage everybody who comes to Dubai to actually go and visit the Museum of the Future. And they have all this vision. They're already speaking about the 2050 vision, including the real estate. Information goes on a blockchain. Most likely, even the purchases in the near future will be officially bought via crypto.
Some companies
Some
are
companies do. Some
actually
companies
do
do.
it
Some
right
real estate
now.
developers do. But I'm actually speaking about this 4% registration tax. When you're buying a property, you're going to have to pay the government 4% registration tax. And it is very highly that in the near future, this could be paid via crypto. So yes, this is what they have in here. They want to be the best in every single sector. Being the best, you have to have the best policies. You have to attract the best people. And you said to yourself, when you're coming here, you're finding people from all the world. But UAE is the home to over 140 nationalities, documented. I'm sure it's probably a little bit more than that.
Exactly. That's what I love because, for example, work with Rock, they have every single activities that is from the future. If you tell, I want to open NFT company in like Europe, they can't even understand you sometimes. And here they say we already done it, so you can take the path for another person who already implemented. Look, this is how it works. So I think this is one of a kind place where you can find solutions for illegal ties problems. And UAE is just like built different for me.
It is. Am I going to have to, as a good lawyer that I am, going to have to just, put a disclaimer. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this video with Idris Elba, which is a very famous British actor. They filmed a very nice, it's a very short film about Dubai. And Idris Elba was saying, impossible is possible. So that's how this country is being built on. Yes, this is not paid advertising.
It's your honest opinion.
It's my own opinion, yes.
Let's talk about tax residency because many clients are confused. They think once they get the residency, they are tax residents since the beginning, which is not true. And I have to explain to them what is the process, how long you have to live in Dubai to get tax residency. So I would love to hear your opinion on that.
This is a great one, guys. Listen very carefully.
Yes. So it is true. A lot of people that they're moving to Dubai, they will say, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to be paying taxes anywhere in the world. No, it's not true. First off, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're going to have to deal with IRS. Now, we were not going to be advising on any taxation outside of UAE. But when it comes down to becoming a UAE tax resident, you can be from 2 points of view. We can be a UAE tax resident as a natural person, as I said, with very small exceptions, or you can be a UAE tax resident from a corporate level. The catch is, and I'm sure you already explained this very carefully, you have to stay in the country for at least 6 months, continuous 6 months. What you do afterwards, you apply for what we call a TRC certificate, which is tax residence certificate. You issue the tax residence certificate. You try to spend less time in your home country and spend more time here. Then having a company here, if the company is domiciled in here, keep in mind, they're only responsible for the taxes levied within the UAE, and they don't have to pay taxes outside of the country.
So on a corporate level, there is 9% if you pass 110 US dollars thousands. And on a personal level, you have to live here 6 months, just to be clear.
So that's if you're a U.S. citizen, right? Because at a personal level, this...
Yeah, not for US.
Yes, exactly. At a personal level, any income that it's generated here, it's not taxable. But yes, it is true. You have to be a UAE resident.
So a lot of our clients are actually from United States. And I want to ask you a specific question. What is the difference between the United States passport and other passports, like in Europe, for example? What is the difference?
Well, life here, I think it's the same for everybody. It doesn't really matter which passport do you have, as long as you do comply with the UAE laws and rules and regulations, right? When it comes to taxation, it's a little different because the U.S. citizens and the U.S. residents, keep in mind, you not necessarily need to be a U.S. Citizen, but you can be considered as a U.S. tax resident only by having a green card. You're still going to have to declare your taxes to the IRS. Now, I strongly suggest that you do consult with a U.S. tax advisor because this is not considered as a tax advice, but taxes are to be paid according to your home country.
But if you have an European passport?
If you have a European passport, the rules are a little bit different. The UK recently implemented, for now,
for the first month of
2025.
January.
For now, for instance, UK recently implemented their laws that effectively, if you're staying outside of the UK for more than a certain period of time, more than 6 months, you do not necessarily have to register for taxes in the UK and be tax-free.
What about the rumors? Because they said at one point they reduced the period from 6 months to 3 months.
Regarding to
regarding to tax residency?
We haven't heard anything about this yet, probably. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of rumors on the street. Advice to your clients, always just go to the main sources.
When you want to move, please move in the next at least like 1 to 3 months, because rules can change, laws can change.
Yes.
So when you are asking legal questions, be aware that it is for now. For now, these rules works like this. But UAE is very fast country. Something can change. So before you make the move, actually ask the service provider and a lawyer regarding to the now situation. Because if you make a consultation call now and then you move in 6 months, something can change. Like it's changed for like 9% corporate tax or 15 corporate tax.
Absolutely. And I can tell you from the legal perspective, I mean, as lawyers, we've seen a lot of changes. And in 100% of the cases, those changes there for the best. Example, when I first came to the UAE, you were not supposed to be with an opposite sex under the same roof without being married. So there were situations where people effectively, they got prosecuted. Now what the UAE did, they decriminalized that part in which you can just live with your girlfriend. Or, if you're a girl, you can just live with your boyfriend under the same roof. Nothing is going to happen to you. Not necessarily have to be married. Same thing, they lifted the restrictions for alcohol. A lot of things are happening here at a very fast pace.
And they do everything better for different nationalities. They actually implementing these rules for not Muslim people. I think so. Because it's really culture of Muslim is different, completely different from United States, from Europe. But they understand that and they're very smart because they changed the law.
Yes. I mean, they want to just make sure they attracting the best talent. Tourists, they can come for a visit and then they decide to move over to the UAE for a better life.
And how long you were living in UAE?
I moved here in 2017, so I'm going for my 8th year.
So, from the source of like a person who is actually living here for 8 years. To live here for 8 years, you don't need to have any problems with the law, right?
That is true. And if you do have a problem with the law, you know what to do. Call a lawyer.
Okay, we've been working with you for some time now, and I would be curious to hear your opinion about our relationship, this relationship.
Ask a lawyer to be honest. Okay, great. What we like about this company, it's a new company. It's a startup, but the people behind this company, they have a fantastic drive, given the age. I mean, all of you, you're a very young team, and you all look ahead for your future, which is extremely admirable. A lot of startups, they come here, they fail. And then the reason why, because again, it takes us back to what we were speaking at the beginning of the interview. You need to have a vision. Without a vision, doesn't really matter how much money you're making. You're going to fail. You're not prone to succeed. So that's what we like about you guys. You're young. You're driven by results. Your success, it's our success as well. It's my success as well. And the job is just to make you guys better.
Thank you so much for the kind words.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity of being on this podcast.
So, guys, thank you again, Eduard, for being on this podcast. We really appreciate it. I hope that you guys got all the questions answered. And if you have any questions, you want to move to UAE, open a bank account, create a company, get a residency, you know where to find us. Just link in the description. Go there and make the first step. That is a consultation call. You can ask us any question you would like, and we'll be truly transparent what you need to do to move to UAE. And of course, we have the lawyer to be accurate in every single question. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And subscribe to the channel. Bye.